Let's be real. Most of you are playing Enlisted like it's a standard arcade shooter. You run to the point, you die, you rinse and repeat. Even some of you veterans are stuck in bad habits from 2 years ago. Enlisted isn't about who has the fastest aim, it's about who controls the battlefield. Well, today, I'm breaking down the 4 pillars of the Wolfpack strategy. Master these, you don't just win matches, you dominate them. Howdy, y'all. My name's Onyx Wolf. Now, let's get to work, shall we? The first pillar on the list is squad management. Now, you are a commander, not a solo grunt. Most players treat their AI like extra lives or cannon fodder. Well, they're not. They are your utility. So stop letting them follow you in a straight line like the brain dead zombies they are. That's just a multi kill waiting to happen for enemy snipers, tanks, bombs, and, well, you get the picture. But how to really maximize your squad is to use the squad wheel by pressing Y on your keyboard. Pro tip. With this menu, you'll see 2 buttons at the bottom right of the wheel. One button that says active formation and the other that says active behavior. These 2 commands are super crucial when fighting in different types of terrains. An example, set your squad to passive behavior and wide formation when moving through open ground. By doing this, your squad will not fire on enemies until they are fired upon, and they will be more spread out. So that way, if an HE round was to come from a tank or a grenade was to be thrown, only 2, 3 of your squad mates die, but the rest of them can still fight back. When fighting an urban environment, you set the squad behavior to aggressive and close formation. Keeping them close will help you push through house to house fighting easy, but there's a caveat. They will be more prone to clustering and being, prone to dying by a grenade. Now, the aggressive behavior will ensure that the AI fire on any enemy they see. So, these, in a nutshell, really, these commands stop the AI from really wandering out of cover to take pot shots at an enemy soldier, exposing your position to the enemy, or worse, to an enemy tank that's probably sitting on a hill waiting for you to shoot to send an HE round to your little AI soldier, thus killing you and the entire squad. But another way you can manage your squad is to use the individual order command by pressing K on the keyboard. By pressing that keybind, you are able to give individual soldiers commands. To capitalize on this mechanic, you'd want to tuck your AI into corners, behind walls, or even inside different rooms in a building. Doing this ensures the safety of your squad mates, and if you are sniping inside a house, they act like an early warning receiver, meaning if an enemy soldier kills them, this provides you with information of an enemy player in your area. If you think the individual order is a little too much for you, well, you can just basically press X on your keyboard to send the entire squad into a safe, deflated position or behind cover. So that way, when you die, you swap back to a fresh soldier who isn't already in the line of fire. But beware, never stay on one soldier for too long. An example would be if you are pushing a house as an assaulter, you run out of grenades, but you know there's a rally point in that building and you could hear enemies inside. So you switch to another soldier that has an explosive pack or even a hand grenade. Or if you're trying to, use your machine gun and you run out of ammo, you can just switch to an engineer to build an ammo box or switch to another soldier that has an MG. And if there's an enemy tank, well, you switch to the AT gunner to basically go destroy that tank. But to go back on the engineer, and I swear to God, if you are playing an engineer, for the ever-loving God, do not be that person to not build rally points. Build rallies, for the love of God. But by swapping between different squad mates, you keep the pressure on the enemy and you keep aiding your team. And also, it keeps you in the fight longer because you're ready for anything that comes your way between really you and your team's victory. So let's recap Pillar 1. Remember that your AI squad mates are your utility. And yeah, they are your extra lives when things get hairy. But keeping them alive and keeping them hidden and keeping yourself in the battle longer is the best way to secure a victory. By having a safe squad is only half the battle. You still need to know where to stand. That brings us to pillar number 2, which is positioning and real tactics. If you're caught in the open, you're already a dead man. A good soldier doesn't run in the middle of the open screaming, "Here I am, shoot me, shoot me." No, no, no. A good soldier always uses good positioning and tactics to get the jump on his enemy. I'm going to teach you 2 real world tactics that really helped me achieve good positioning and a tactical mindset. And these 2 tactics are called leapfrogging and inflated fire. So let's start with leapfrogging. With leapfrogging, you never move unless you know where your next piece of cover is and have a planned route to get to that cover without getting killed. The basic recipe for this leapfrogging tactic is move, stop, scan, repeat. Let me repeat that one more time. Move, stop, scan, repeat. Now, you obviously do this when you're behind cover. But let me tell you, this tactic is really effective when you are playing with friends. Why? Because if one of your friends has a machine gunner in their squad or has a bunch of assaulters, he can just flip to the assaulter or to the machine gunner, lay down a suppressing fire on the enemy's position, allowing you to move from cover to cover to get closer to the enemy position. Now, I can hear everyone say, that's just basically fire and maneuver, which is exactly what it is. But I like to call it leapfrogging because you leapfrog between cover to cover. But now I can hear people saying, well, Onyx, what if I can't find my next piece of cover, or this piece of cover is too far and I want to get to it without getting killed? Well, settle down, my friend. That is where smoke grenades come in. Just toss one in between you and the enemy to basically break the line of sight. Once the smoke grenade cloud is big enough, that is the time to sprint to that piece of cover. Or if there isn't, you go around and reposition yourself to get a jump on the enemy that way. Which brings us into the next tactic called inflated fire, aka flanking. To master this flanking tactic, you need to stop hitting the capture points or long corridors head on. The enemy is already aiming down that corridor or that doorway, so they're waiting for you no matter what. To achieve this, you want to basically take flanking routes or possibly find flanking routes from the enemy's position. Now, there's a huge bonus to using this because as you do it, the enemy's attention will be drawn away from your main thrust, which is your teammates trying to push the objective, and be focused on you because they want you dead. Because by doing this, your allies will be able to push up and at least assist you with keeping the enemy off your back because you're allowing them to get closer to them. But here's the caveat. Unless there is a tank camping behind the lines and sees all this happening, he can just send an HE shell down your way and you and your mates are toast. But I want to add a bonus tip to this. And it's a very common sense tip. And it's something I like to call the 2-kill rule. If you get 2 or more kills, between 2 to 4 kills, on enemies from a single position, you need to move and reposition. Why? The enemy has a death cam, meaning they can see the direction where you were shot and you're outlined in red, so they can exactly see where you're at. And by doing this, repositioning and moving, you keep the enemy guessing on where you're going to be. They might think you're in this house, but then you moved like 2 rooms over and they're aiming at that window, and then you basically pop out, shoot him, and then now he's got to focus on that window, but then you reposition back to the same window again, you get the jump on the enemy. You basically get what I'm saying here, right? Good. Let's just keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and recap on Pillar 2. So stay out of the open. Flank to break the line. Never stay in one window long enough for the death cam to give you away. Stay mobile, stay alive. But even with the best position in the world, you cannot win this war of attrition without a solid place to respawn or respawn on the front lines. That brings us to the most important class in the game, and that brings us to the engineer. But before we hit on the third pillar, if this level of detail is what your game has been missing, you are in the right place. Join the Wolfpack by hitting that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. We're building a community of tactical players who actually play the objective and are looking for a really good team to play with. But now, let's talk about the most important class in the game, the one that actually defines your team's victory or if you lose. If you don't have an engineer in every single squad that you have, you are throwing the match. Period. Engineers are the lifeline of the team, and they are the most crucial cog in the machine that even makes our final pillar even possible. But engineers are more crucial when they build rally points for your team. Let me rephrase that. Rally points. Sorry, but a golden placed rally point isn't just near the objective. It needs to be hidden in key areas such as attics, basements, tree lines, in cover, out of sight for the enemy to see. By putting these rallies in these locations, your team will thank you because now they can push the objective. But beyond just spawning, engineers are your force multipliers. You have the ability to build static defenses, machine gun nests, anti-air, anti-tank guns that can literally define the course of a battle. So use your fortifications like barbed wire, sandbags to cut the enemy off, in certain approaches. Force them into a sight line for you and your team. But don't forget, engineers can also build ammo boxes. And your machine gunners, actually your entire team, would prefer if you had ammo boxes everywhere for them to resupply if they're running dry. But remember, building these tools is only half the battle. You can build the best AT gun and have it placed perfectly to destroy every tank, use the HE shells to kill infantry, or even have a well-placed machine gun nest to mow down infantry. But it doesn't mean a thing if your team is blind. That's what leads us into this final pillar, which is team synergy. You don't need a mic to be a top tier teammate. You just need to use your V key, which is your mark key. And if you want to really effectively use it, bind that key to your primary mouse button, which is the button to shoot. Why? Because every time you shoot, you'll leave a little triangle, which is the mark. And I stress this because you need to mark everything. Tanks, machine gun nests, and even clusters of infantry. Look, you have to understand that your pilots and your tankers and your mortarmen and your radio men are literally blind without those red triangles. They are in the sky, or the tankers are having to basically turn out to scan the horizon for a target and then get sniped by an enemy, sniper or even infantryman. They need you to be their eyes so that way they can do their jobs. But honestly, marking a tank is more lethal than trying to solo it yourself, because you call upon the people who can actually go and delete it. AT gunners that are nearby, another tank, your aircraft, they can go ahead and destroy that said tank or take out that cluster of infantry. But let me tell you this one thing that I have taken a long time to learn, And this is how I've actually gone from zero to hero and actually was able to carry some games with my team. And we did this because we built rally points. And please do not be that guy, okay? Do not be the engineer that doesn't build rallies or just skips out on them and wants to build barbed wire and all that. You're not contributing to the team if you don't build freaking rally points. So please be a good engineer and build rallies. Also, you set up defenses. You put AT guns down. You get AA, defenses down to deal with tanks, to deal with planes. And if you guys are marking targets consistently, marking tanks, marking clusters of infantry, your supports can do their job, getting you guys further in the match and pushing the enemy back. That is what real team synergy is. And look, I know it's tempting to worry about kills, but please stop worrying about your KD. Enlisted is not about farming kills. It's about sticking with your team and playing as a unified force. In this game, jumping on a point and dying just to stall the cap for 10 seconds is worth more than sitting back and farming kills. Because you deny the enemy of capping the zone. Sure, you die, but at least when you stall, you allow your team to push in behind you to basically keep the stalemate going. So, if your team gets stuck in that said meat grinder, which is where you guys are pushing along corridor and you're stalling the cap, use smokes. Smokes are definitely the best way to aid your team. Period. It breaks line of sight, gives your squad a chance to actually push together. And if you play like a force multiplier, well, suddenly you're not just another player in the match. You are the reason why your team wins. Enlisted is a game of details. These four pillars, squad logistics, positioning, engineering, and team synergy, are the difference between a frustrating loss and a dominant victory. You take these tips into your next match, and I promise you, you will see the difference in your XP gains and even in your kill counts, but mostly your win rates. So, if you found this guide helpful, be sure to share it with your squad mates and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see these tactics live, come find me over on Twitch. The link will be in the description below, where I'm live every Sunday and Monday at 6 p.m. Central. I'd love to see you guys in chat. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Onyx Wolf. Thank you for watching, and I will see all of you, beautiful soldiers, on the battlefield. Be smooth.